All right then, I'll remind everyone that tonight's council meeting is being streamed live on council social media accounts, and then recording will be uplifted to the council website. Good evening, everyone, and I now call Leeton Shire Council December 2025 ordinary council meeting to order at the time being 6:41. Before we officially commence tonight's meeting on behalf of Leeton Shire Council, we fly the flag at half-mast to remind those who tragically lost their lives during the horrific attack on innocent people at Bondi Beach on Sunday evening. As Leetonians, we pride ourselves on welcoming and embracing people from different walks of life, and we strongly value everyone's right to be peaceful, celebrate their culture and their religion. Our hearts bleed for those who lost lives and loved ones while doing just that, celebrating a religious event about love and light. The shooting can be only described as evil and heinous crime against humanity. They certainly don't reflect the Australian way of life that we hold very dear. Tonight we stand with the Jewish Australians who were targeted in the attack, and we speak loudly and firmly against hatred and violence. There is no place for division in Australia. I'll say it again. There is no place for division in Australia. As Leetonians and Australians, we stand for peace, tolerance and kindness, and we actively seek out the common value that draw us together. A strong and progressive multicultural community that we are, united in respect and what we value. This is what we've always been pursuing. Please join me in a minute's silence. Please all stand. Please join me in a minute's silence as we commemorate those who lost their lives and pay for those recovering from injuries and trauma. Thank you. Please remain standing while Councillor Morris leads us through the civic prayer, and Councillor Kidd stays to acknowledge the country.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Leeton Shire Council acknowledges the Wiradjuri people and their continued impact on our community. We acknowledge their connection to the land, water and sky. We acknowledge all Aboriginal people who have made Leeton Shire their home. As such, we pay our respects to Aboriginal elders, past, present and emerging of our Shire.
Thank you. Please be seated. General Manager, are there any apologies of councillors attending the meeting via video camera tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have an apology this evening from Councillor Tynan, who's away on a school excursion. Councillor Nardi and Councillor Matum have asked for apologies for lateness. And just for the record, we have Councillor Sarah Tiffin online this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, General Manager. Please can I have a move and a second for that? Councillor Morris, Councillor Morris moved it, Councillor Wright seconded it. I'll put the motion. All in favour, those again? Thank you very much. Moving on, confirmation of minutes, the matters arising. The recommendation are that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on 1st of December 2025 as circulated. Do I have a mover? And a seconder? Councillor Mason, sorry, Councillor Kidd, second by Councillor Wright. Any discussion? Put the motion? Favour? Aye. Those again? Okay, thank you very much. Procedural motion, the recommendation is that council accepts the Rotary Theatre Financials year 30 September to 2025 as a late attachment to the item 8.1.5 for discussion at tonight's meeting. Do I have a move list? Moved by Councillor Edwards, second by Councillor Kidd. Any discussion? Put the motion. Favour? Aye. Those against? Thank you very much. Councillors, are there any disclosures of interest this evening? Remind you to please stand and declare those disclosures. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to declare a significant non-pecuniary conflict of interest in regards to item 10.1, which is the confidential item, as I am on the executive of a sports club, and I'm also a personal friend of applicant to be a community member. So I'd like to ask to be outside of that decision making for that particular committee. I could come back in for all the other committees.
Right, so
Can we discuss it in the meeting later one day?
right,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any more disclosures? Council, since there's no mirror minute this evening, before we move on to the reports, we will hear from Mr. Ian Swain from 100% Renewables, who prepared the tree planting strategy, item 8.3.1. Ian, welcome. Are you there?
Yes, thank you very much. I am here to be with you.
Thank you.
Yes,
General Manager.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Ian, this is an opportunity just to give a brief 2 to 3 minute overview of the strategy and your experience with preparing it and consulting community, and the councillors will then be making a determination later in the meeting whether to accept the draft or not.
Okay.
Thank
Two to
you.
three minutes, did you say?
Yes, just very brief. Thank you.
Okay. If I go to my screen, share. Are you seeing my screen at the moment?
Yes, we can see
We can
you.
see you, but not
Okay.
we can see the forest for the trees or something like that.
An appropriate analogy.
Yes, we can see it now. Thank you.
Okay, good. So look, it was a real pleasure to work on this. We had a multidisciplinary team put it together, people with expertise across engineering, GIS, chemistry, soil chemistry, and a bunch of other things. I'll probably just point, I guess, initially to the cut to the chase. It was a long report, but to the executive summary, we were trying to map out what sort of canopy cover you've got as sort of a starting point or a reference point. Not surprisingly, the parks had around 24% average canopy cover, residential areas around 14%, CBD streets around 10%, and industrial areas around 3%. I think there's opportunity to grow the canopy in all those areas. We did some analysis to work out what would be required to achieve, I guess, a significant improvement, uplift in the canopy cover that would actually lead to a noticeable cooling impact on hot days, which would protect you from the effects of heat waves and things like that, especially with climate change. And we found that by ramping up the sort of current rate of planting by around 50% a year, that would be sufficient to achieve a 50% increase in the township canopy cover by 2050. And that would be equivalent to a rise from approximately 6% for the overall township itself. That includes our external areas, which includes some agriculture. I guess in terms of the cooling benefits, that equates to 1.2 degrees Celsius. So that can be quite helpful in the context of, we've probably already seen 1.5 degrees Celsius increase due to climate change, but that's projected to increase even further. But knowing that you can, rather than hoping that countries around the world get their act together, you can actually do something proactive. That's something you've already been doing, and just a continuation and enhancement of that, I guess, that would lead to other benefits. You've already got pretty excellent tree sort of palette and structure. I think just filling that out and complementing that, you could start getting a bit of a reputation as well for the trees, even more so than you have already. So look, there's lots of benefits. Obviously wildlife and other benefits as well. Does come at a bit of a cost, which you're probably interested in. I mean, we calculated the total to be 2.2, 2.6. We were quite conservative in the costing. Basically, there is a fair bit of work in the infrastructure and capital works, but that's actually potentially leads you to savings in other areas of your budget, for example, repairs. So some of the recommendations we made have been to incorporate some latest thinking around protecting gutters and hard pavements and things from root damage. So by doing that, you're likely to actually reap some benefits in some other areas of your budget. So that's the high level, just to show you some of the analysis quickly that underpins some of that. You might be interested to see what's been going on for the last 25 years in terms of things like average annual maximum temperatures. You've kind of got, there's a clear sign that they're getting hotter, and also interestingly cooler at the bottom end there as well. That's often to do with sort of more clear skies. Your average minimum temperatures are actually going down, again, the same reason. So you can see these climate change effects for real. Happily, there seems to be a floor in the rainfall around 200 millimeters. So that's sort of the current basis for the trees we recommended and things like that, where you didn't have the ability to irrigate them, for example. In terms of what your climate might look like in the future, probably the most likely is going to be sort of to the northwest, somewhere between Condobolin and Cobar. Did I say that right?
Condobolin.
Yeah, somewhere between there is what you're likely to look like by 2050, according to trends and things like that, which can be quite seen in the data. We reviewed your existing palette and suggested what we thought were the best ones from a climate change point of view, and also recommended 10 new species that we think you should try. Here's some of the canopy cover calculations we did, and we used 2 different methods, but you can see here some examples for different areas. That was an industrial area, that was a park. And so we're using photo image processing techniques to extract the tree canopy cover out, so we can get quite accurate percentages. So we've got quite a lot of confidence there. We also modeled the canopy cover growth and things like that, just to make sure that you can actually get to the target, 50% target. And that was done based on modeling of representative tree species and what we knew about growth and canopy area. So some quite sophisticated modeling has gone into that. The orange portion here is actually the contribution of your existing plantings that have happened over the last 10 or 11 years. But you can see the bet that if you were to stop there, they would kind of taper off from around 2035, and you really need that continued sustained effort to get to where you want to go. So a lot of analysis. Again, working out what the cooling benefit was, we reviewed all the studies we could find on that, and sort of for a 50% increase, you can see here that the regression formula says 1.2 degrees. So, it's not going to be precise, but it's a good indicator just to think in terms of, at least a degree. That's actually quite useful. So look, that's it in a nutshell. I could talk about it all day. We did do little bits of like graphic design just to kind of show you what it could look like. Yeah, all sorts of engineering recommendations based on best practice guidance from New South Wales government and Landcom and other relevant agencies, and best practice examples from around Australia. So there's everything you need in here to take this forward. Yeah, really just continue on the good work you've already been doing and leave a legacy, I guess.
Thank you, Ian. Maybe some councillors might want to ask some questions of Ian. Any questions from the councillor Edwards?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm unsure if Ian had to do with this part of the report, but I just want to note that in the costing for the tree supply, I note that, like, I just want to understand where those figures come from. Because if you look up Bunnings or nurseries, you can find a lot of those trees for much cheaper. So I just want to have an understanding of where, or you can disagree all you like with Councillor Kidd, but I did my research and I did.
You did ask for sugar guns, councillor.
I just noted.
Councillor, the question for Ian, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, so we did a review of commercial tree suppliers from around Australia. I'll just see if I can find a bit. We found there's a real difference between small, medium, and large, of course, and I think that's got to be part of your strategy as well. Find it. The benefit of going for bigger trees, which are more expensive, is because a lot of the cost is actually sunk in terms of the labour and the digging and the infrastructure and the root guards and all that. In certain spots, it pays to, let me just go to the contents, find out where I put it. In certain areas, it pays to actually just get that instant uplift in your tree canopy. And the other advantage is they're already, they've made it that far, they're proven they're going to survive. They've had time to be shaped in the nursery. So there's a lot of labour that actually goes into shaping these trees up. So that's all savings to you. And obviously when you're doing more expansive plantings, more out on the rural edge sort of thing, you'd probably go for smaller trees, less maintenance. But that's I guess what's emerging in best practices. So you can take a, here we go, can take a shortcut there. Okay, here we go. So here's an example of costs of trees used by councillor past and present. So these are costs that were just found from commercial nurseries. So ranging from, around $200 to as much as $2,000 for a mature tree. But we're talking a tree, we're not talking a plant there. That at this point you're actually craning in a tree when you have those green bars.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And here's
Councillor Morris had the question.
Thank you, Ryan, for giving us the oversight. I was just getting you to confirm your quote on current or estimation of current pricing. An additional like 220 odd thousand would enable us per year over that 10-year period would bring us up to another 50%. Am I understanding that correctly?
I'm not quite sure what your current budget is, but yeah, if that's the case.
And an additional amount we would need to over that time period to see us through.
I think we costed this on the full 2,000 trees, so this would be basically not additional to, but
through you, Mr. Mayor, that's my understanding as well, is that we currently plant in the vicinity of 130 to 140 a year. So this would be an extra, say, 60 a year. And so the pricing is for the full program. Yeah.
Currently what we're restricted to is additional.
Unfortunately, well, our director of operations is on leave and the acting director has fallen ill. So I don't have people here who can answer immediately, but I will make 100% certain around that and then circulate that to everyone. But that's certainly my understanding.
Thank you. Thank you.
Councillor Tiffin, I think you've got a hand up there, Councillor Tiffin.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Ian. That is all so interesting. It's obviously very important. I just wondered if you had any views on how it would work to engage the community, where we sort of identify to them the kinds of trees that would be beneficial to plant. There's a lot of enthusiastic gardeners and tree planters in town that form part of the push, or does that go against the sort of, I don't know, the structured planning of this report?
No,
That
different
was-
against
yeah.
flexibility, and we've taken a principle based rather restricted, so we've actually put section to on issues.
Oh, lovely. Yep, yep.
So basically saying that it's a vital component of any successful urban tree planning strategy. You need a bit of buy-in, partly because you're kind of constrained to where you can plan as well. There's a lot of land that's private, so you're, aside from nature strips, you can also, you need to work with private land. Even like things like car parks came up. It's like, what do you do about these massive expanses of private car parks?
Yeah.
So
And we could say to people, we're spending money, we're going to plant lots of trees, but you guys can join in and plant trees too.
Yep. So where
Yeah.
appropriate, residents should be invited to contribute to decisions about where trees are planted and which species are chosen. Make a bit of extra effort for underrepresented groups, fostering ownership. There's this cool idea I came across that I thought I'd include it. This idea of I wish there was a tree planted, and you can do this online or even just like a simple form that's just left around places, and people can just finish the sentence and pop it in a box. And
Great idea.
And that way they can say where, why, whatever comes to mind.
Thank you. Councillor Kidd has a question.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. I read the document and I may have missed this, but what I wanted to ask was there was talk of planting trees in streets that align in different directions and strategies for that. Is there any value in planting swathes of trees, several layers thick, on the surrounds of town to block prevailing winds, which in summer can often be, quite hot? Is there benefit in that, particularly to our northeast and northwest?
Yes, I think that's good idea. So here's actually the wind direction. That's just showing all, but yeah, this is from a website. It's actually the Nation Lighthouse Energy Rating Scheme for houses. You can go on there and put in your postcode and it'll give you all this. So yeah, so you got hot westerly winds. So yes, and the benefit of planting double thick is you kind of get a bit more of that forest feel as well. It's a bit more, feels a bit more substantial. We were actually asked to do that for some parts of town, particularly around some of the bike paths and stuff like that. There was like a double row. So yeah, we did it where we could, and I think it is a good idea. And you just get more, benefits really. You did provide detailed GIS locations. Like here's just a sample of some of them. But Long Avenue plantings out, you could potentially do these double where possible. But yeah, some of the bike paths, I think they're in around this sort of eastern edge up to the, I think the vet.
Yeah, around home, right?
Yeah, did some double plantings up around there. So I think it's useful. It looks good. It just feels a bit more forest-like.
I believe Councillor Kidd has a second question.
Yeah, and I've just been reading in council different magazines that come out, and I've noticed at trade shows there's a lot of talk, and it's also in your document with regard to porous gutters and things. Do they all have to be can they be retrofitted, or do they all have to be completely only done with, say, a new installation of curb and guttering?
Could be retrofitted for sure. So
And that would be significantly less expensive, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so it depends on what's there already, of course, but you know, you can even just replace sections like that with paving. So yeah, definitely retrofitting, I think is an option as well.
Right.
Yeah. Obviously comes at a cost.
I just had to join us from the company. We just talking to Ian Swain from the 100% renewable, which is a later item for us to talk about later. We're just asking questions at the moment. And you got any questions to you, Council?
No, my iPad's not updating, so.
All right,
Sorry.
sorry to hear that. Any more questions of Ian? And if not, we'll ask Ian. No more questions? Oh, good. Ian, thank you very much for your time. It's a very comprehensive document, and it's great to see the work that you've done for us. And we'll be debating your report a bit later.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for tonight.
Yeah, look, I definitely think the benefit's worth it, and yeah, you can leave a legacy of awesomeness. So thanks for your time.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. We're going to move on to reports to council. And the first one is the general manager's matters. And as in regard to 8.1.1, delivery of program quarterly progressive update report. So on page 6, there is a recommendation put forward by the staff. Would I have a move and a second for that? Councillor Kidd moved it, seconded by Councillor Wright. Any discussion? Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have 3 questions. Is it all right if I just ask each question individually instead of asking them all? The first one is just in relation to code 1.3.1. At the right place? Yes. Well, let's go ahead then. What is the current status of the CCTV program in the CBD? How many new cameras have been installed to date? And what are the associated costs, and why is this item marked as needs attention? That's more so just a general question, why there's the marked as needs attention. I'd like to get clarification on what that means.
Departed through the general manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I do appreciate the heads up on this question, because the director was able to ask a few questions of our manager of IT. Feedback is that 4 cameras have been installed at Reservoir Lane. So that's the number. But what has proved difficult is that, and this is why it needs some attention, is we need to use some essential energy posts and poles to get some of the equipment installed, and getting permission from Essential Energy to use their posts isn't a straightforward process. So that's slowing things down. Is there anything else you want to say in regards to that?
The budget for this is 20,000 for this year through you, Mr. Mayor. And we've done 50% here to date now.
50%.
So 3 more cameras that are still to be installed.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I know that central energy can be a bit tricky to deal with. My next question is in relation to code 0.1.7.3, and that's the Leeton Living website. I failed to understand why the website needs an upgrade, and I've tried to look through notes, and is there like an estimate cost to the upgrade, or is it just a sort of
Through the general manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So in a year, it is possible that the word upgrade overstates the amount of upgrading that needs to happen. It's more a case of populating with the information that's up to date and making sure that it's always current. At the moment, the Leeton Living website is a 3-way relationship between Leeton Shire Council, Leeton Connect, and the Business Chamber. And since Daniel left the economic role, our new economic person starting in January, there'll be more resource available to get this going. On average, I think we have said that as council, we'll commit around 10,000 per annum to keep it up to date, but we're looking for all of the partners to actively do their bit of keeping the information current. So the business chamber would work with businesses, the Leeton Connect would work with the community organisation, and we play a role with events and perhaps at the moment health updates, and certainly helping to keep the website functioning from a technical perspective. So we do see it as a potential avenue. Once it's really humming and running properly, it's really a place that can become the one source of information for everyone living in Leeton. But I'd say that at the moment, until we can get all the information current and up to date, it's crawling rather than running at this point in time.
Thank you, General Manager, for your update there. And my final question, Mr. Mayor, for you is in regards to code 0.2.4.3, which is the Canary Corner funding for the arts installation. What alternative funding options are currently being explored for the Canary Corner project?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the only one that I'm aware of at the moment is this, again, is a partnership with Sunrise. So Sunrise is a commercial entity, is working with us and considering, I suppose, helping to kick the can down the road, but I don't think they're looking to fund it 100%. And they're, you know, we're actively looking at funding opportunities with them. And it would be once it's up and running, it'd be a lovely statement coming into Leeton from the west.
Councillor Edwards, okay, first questions? Well, thank you. Any more discussion? Councillor Nardi?
Yep. I also have a couple of little notes. Just on a similar note to item 1.7.3 in the Leeton Living website, it's just some feedback that I've just received from a couple of the real estates in town, suggesting that they'd like to be able to have something similar to this as an option to showcase to residents who are buying in our community. So I'd like to be able to have a note put down to reach out to the real estates to let them know that there's an option for them to showcase that for any new homeowners, because that's basically like an online yellow pages for the community as well as businesses. And I think the Chamber of Commerce could work together well with them on that.
That'd be nice.
And there's certainly housing is a key feature. And an idea behind this to make this project sustainable is all commercial businesses advertising on it will all be charged a fee.
Yes, correct.
And then, but at least everyone's being directed to one platform.
Yeah.
And it means the community doesn't get lost.
That's right.
But you're right.
I think it's definitely a very, like, I mean, we had the opening that day at the top hydro and they did it. And I think that the women and the men involved with that was fantastic. I just think a lot of people didn't actually know about it, and I had 2 real estate agents asking for something.
Right.
So
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. So that's my first thing. Second one is on item 2.1.3 in the Penny Pinners arts question. I'd asked a question, just double checking on any further discussion on the artwork being displayed around town that was that had previously, I think I'd spoken to you, General Manager, about that, but also the tile artwork from Old Fountain, if there was a time frame of replacement.
So I'll start with the second question first. The artwork's completed and it just needs to be hung up now, and we're having some debates, but we're thinking at this point that it'll be hung at the front door of the council chambers. So outside, but undercover.
Yep.
So that's the artwork. In terms of paintings having the opportunity to circulate around town, we say that's a work in progress. It hasn't advanced much past go, but it's on the radar to do in the new year.
Thank you. And then I just a general note that item 3.2.3 about the network of the public toilets, it's green on track. Is that still on track or should it be purple? It's completed.
You mind just saying the number again?
3.2.3.
3.2.3. So it's page 23 of 277. So the renewals program is on track. The new adult changing facility has been opened. Certainly the changing facility would be purple, but because there's other renewal work, it's not totally done and dusted. Still got 75% to go.
Yep, that's fine, thank you. And then I should say the page number, probably 28 of 277, 4.3.2, which is the discussion around council housing development out at Leeton. I know that we've had many conversations about this, and I've noticed that it's changed to not due to start, but it says not being actively pursued. Is that just basically going to be on hold, and will it still stay within this platform of the delivery program?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it's definitely in the 4-year delivery program. It's just in this annual plan. Certainly when the government comes to us and says, have you got any land for sale, for example, or if a private developer comes and asks, we'll always let them know about it. But in terms of council actively doing its own marketing campaign, we're focusing on other priorities first, and this one will come later. But we're certainly making it known to anyone that inquires.
Thank you. Item 5.1.6 on page 36 of 277. Creating a master plan for development of a master plan for the waterfront reserve at Lake Paddock. That obviously wasn't always in there, but has been added, I'm assuming, or has been changed.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, this was introduced by the Director of Economic Development and Planning Manager, and you adopted it in the program, but it was 100% subject to grant money.
Yep, that's
so, and that's just the planning.
Yes.
So council's putting no money in, but if they find a grant for planning purposes, they'll investigate it. Again, it will be opportunistic rather than pursued.
That's fine. That's what I was going to check. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Just making some more notes, just double checking I haven't missed anything. I think that might be it. Yep, that's it. Thank you very much.
Any more discussion? Oh, Councillor Maiden.
Yeah, I just had a question through you, Mr. Mayor, to the General Manager regarding the annual commercial clean of the CBD. There was a note, well, the status there says needs attention. So I just was wanting to understand what plans are in place. Why is it that it needs attention? Obviously, we can see at times it does need that. And also noting in that there's a fortnightly pressure clean done by the street sweeping unit. I'm assuming that can only do the road area. So this doesn't kind of focus on the concrete, but would the annual clean through the pathways and the shops?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, the council put it in when we developed this current delivery program. And the reason it needs to be actioned is because no one's done the cost, but they haven't actually sought to get the full costing of what that would cost. So that step needs to happen, and they've flagged it. It's been flagged as yellow because they need to get onto it soon, because otherwise it'll become June very quickly. So that homework is needing to be done. In terms of the regular cleaning, that just carries on as usual, but that extra clean and the cost of the extra cleans needs.
I was more just thinking coming up to significant times. Obviously, we probably missed the Christmas period, but noting that we're going into the Sunrise Festival early April, wondering if something might be able to be done prior to that festival.
I'm very happy to pass that on, that it should be prioritised in the new year with the festival in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would happily, can I second Councillor Matum? I had that on my list because the Main Street area is not, it is in need of a clean.
Yeah.
The pavement area, I think we're referring to.
But just about the CBD Enhancement Committee, we had many years ago 5 stages. And we did the first stage over here, and the second stage, there's other stages, but it's all subject to funding and so forth, you know?
And there may be some of, speaking to the business owners and seeing what they can do to contribute additionally.
Yeah.
But if we can be part of that annual clean or twice a year, whatever that looks like, that would be great.
All right, thank you. Any more, Councillor Morris?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. On page 31, 4.7.1 was regarding Conservatory Weir. Sorry, I wrote myself a note here. And it was just probably a little bit of the seasonality of the income, assuming that's really what is contributing to that figure, just of the number of campers and then, the income higher than expenditure, which is in brackets. I'm assuming it's down by the 14,976.
General Manager.
On what our expectation was.
I can, but answer that. Thank you, Mr Mayor, to some degree. I can't give you an exact cash value, councillor, but there has been a significant improvement in the cash situation. The problem with Q1 is that it's your quiet quarter. You're coming out of winter. Your busy time is obviously Christmas and Easter. And so those peak periods even out for the quiet periods, which are Q4 and Q1. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But the cash position has improved, I think, about twofold just in the last 12 months. But
It ended, through you, Mr Mayor, last year ended better than expected. But what we will do next time so that councillors have some sense of relativity is perhaps put in things compared to the Q1 of the previous financial year, so that you get a better. There'll be a few items that are best compared to Q4 of the last financial year, but most would be compared back to Q1. So that'll help you have a good comparison. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Morris.
Yes, just on page 8.3. Just regarding the marketing and promotion of Leeton Shire as a tourist destination and developing our plan. We'll commence in Q2. I'm hoping that's locked in, then that will proceed, especially with our Art Deco way and things that I think we need to really promote. Seeing we have our niche little area in that and we're starting to get some momentum with it all.
General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We've had several months of not having an economic development staff member. Quite several, a few months, more than not just one or two. We're very excited to advise we recruited a very good economic development person who's starting in January. So this will be high on their priorities and we look forward to introducing him to council in February.
Good. So I hope he hits the ground running.
Yep.
Just one more, sorry, Mr Mayor, and that was on page 41, just regarding 5.6.1. And in particular, that was just our food premises inspections. I just noticed that, we'd only managed to carry out 2 food shop inspections during that period. I'm pleased there were no breaches, but just something that I wouldn't like to see within our community.
I think it's contractors, isn't it?
Not anymore, Mr Mayor. We have trained up our staff to become compliance officers, but they've only just started. But the manager himself has recognised that this needs to pick up, so he's marked it as orange, just to make sure that all the compliance checks are happening at the right pace, so they're not all concertinaed into Q4.
Yeah, and because I noticed the next 2 items also.
Yeah.
Are on the needs attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion before I put the motion? Councillor, was that no, right. I'll put the motion. All in favour? All right, those against? Right, mark it as carried. Thank you very much. Right, the next item is moving to 8.1.2, the FS Financial Sustainability Committee minutes for 4th of November, 8th of November, the 3rd of December. It's on page 73 of the agenda. There's a recommendation put forward by council. Do I have a move and a seconder for that? I have a move by Councillor Kidd, seconded by Councillor I can second. Oh, councillor Nardi. All right, good. Any discussion? Councillor Morris.
Thank you. Look, mine is it's just a minor matter, but it's just regarding, on page 75 of the 277, just regarding, the 4-year annual, the 4-yearly, instead of the annual application to be provided by organisations or associations, receiving cash or kind support from council. I very much appreciate that it does take a lot of work by committees and by council staff to track that each year. I just wondered if we could add somewhere, 4 years can be a long time in a committee. They often change. Continuity doesn't always flow. So you may have a committee that fully understand and have put in their proposal, and 4 years later you've got a new council that new committee, or even 2 or 3 years later. And it's not that they have total disregard, they just haven't been part of the process. Is there somewhere we could include, just to be mindful of onerous work for staff, for council staff, is there somewhere there even 2 yearly, they could just do a check with those sporting committees that things are proceeding as planned, just in case changes occur?
I might just ask the general manager and then might ask the mover and seconder.
Oh.
I don't know. First, I'll ask the general
I
manager.
don't know, does it need to
Cost.
be changed?
And cost.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When we considered this, we were very much focused on the front end of doing the consideration as to whether they should get support or help. I think Councillor Morris raises a good point in the sense that it doesn't really capture the monitoring and the. I don't believe there was any intent to remove that. So, and I think the monitoring can be on even an annual basis. We could ask people who've received a subsidy or help to provide council with an annual report and all the annual financials and all the rest, so that that is done on an annual basis. Whereas I think the focus of this was more on getting the subsidy, the help for a 4-year period, rather than having to do all that every year.
Which is what I want to avoid.
Yes.
I am very aware, having been a lot of committees over the years, things do change and continuity doesn't always flow with information. And I would hate for us to put our resources in a committee for 4 years thinking, because that was the original proposal they put forward, their circumstances have drastically changed, but they haven't informed council.
Yeah.
And therefore there can be a mismatch of then resources going. I hope that makes sense of those that are.
I think, sorry.
The intent is perfect.
Councillor Keir had a hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. And you would remember, of course, because you're on that committee as well. The committee did discuss the concept of touching base regularly, maybe in an informal manner with the different groups concerned. And sometimes it can be the constitution of those committees. We did consider that the onerous nature of this and and also that the wise use of council staff time probably took slightly more, carried slightly more weight with the FSAC committee. But certainly it was discussed, the concept of touching base regularly, and I don't think anyone on that committee would object.
I concur with that.
Suggesting.
So I totally agree. I would like to see it on a formal basis though, so it's minuted in that committee's minutes so that there is continuity. That's all. I would hate to see our resourcing not be hitting where we think it is.
Councillor Morris, I think the wordsmith added something up there, or not? You highlight that, or did you add something?
So point D is added if the move and seconder are willing.
Move and seconder. Can you see point D up there?
Could I ask a question there?
Yeah.
What would you consider to be the scope of an annual report? Just the president's report, say from a sporting club or something like that?
It just like the number of members, what major events. It doesn't need to be long and convoluted, but they would tell what they've achieved during the year and provide the financials.
So it could be, say, the president's report and the treasurer's report from an AGM.
Yeah, that could.
It could be that, but we would probably make sure it had some minimum things in there as well. So if the president's report included all those things, it would be fine, but I think like it depends. Some presidents might not write about their membership numbers, whereas I think that would be a really good thing.
That's why I suggested treasurer's report, because the treasurer should have
Yeah.
The two.
this number.
I can see running this for 1 year and then see what we can tweak it later on.
Yes, I know.
Start off with
Thank you. I think that captures the intent,
intent.
trying to.
Right, so we just move in a second. Did you see that point D? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I am if you are.
Yeah, I
Edit, right. So the motion's in front of you now. We had to move in a second. Any more discussion? Well, I might put the motion. All in favour? Aye. Those again? I declare it as carried. Thank you very much. That's very good. The next one is moving on to item 8.1.3, proposed ordinary council meeting dates for February. There is a recommendation put forward by staff members. If there's anybody who'd like to move it a second there. Moved by Councillor Maitland, second by Councillor Edwards. Any discussion? Application? All right, then, there's no discussion. Put the motion, all in favour? All right, those against? Declare as carried. Thank you. Moving on, item 8.1.4, post-event Roxy Community Fair Stage 1, page 95 of the agenda. There is a recommendation put forward there. Staff, do I have a move in a second for that? Moved by Councillor Kidd, second by Councillor Honey. Thank you. Do I have any discussion? Councillor Edwards.
Councillor Kidd, if that's something you'd have raised first.
look, just very briefly, Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to thank the staff for preparing this report and the thoroughness of it. This was a very significant event in Leeton's history, I believe. An event that really showcased the capability and capacity of our community and the talent. And it was really great how everybody embraced it and took it on. So thank you to everybody from our volunteers right through to our performers, our backstage people, our staff who put all the effort in. It was truly a monumental effort and a really great night out. And for those who couldn't make it, try and catch the video. It was very, very good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Edwards, has to hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know that I like things like budget, so I'm very glad to hear that the Gala event was delivered under budget by about $6,000. Where will those funds go to now? And I've just noticed that this is a hard copy. I thought it was just going to be PDF. How much did it cost to do this for a Gala concert?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So these are the leftovers from what was handed out on the night. So they weren't printed for tonight. They leftovers for just to remind people what was handed out on the 1st of March. The concert, the surplus funds of $6,000 go into Roxy operations, but keep in mind operations run from the 1st of July to the 30th of June. The Roxy actually ended the year with a surplus relative to budget, and that then just goes into consolidated coffers, and it's been dealt with through the annual financial statements now. So there's no carrying it forward. At the end of a financial year, operational money just gets put in the general funds reserves, I suppose, for if anything's left over. The one thing I did want to yes, to highlight is that lost my train of thought now, Mr. Mayor. We'll hand over. I don't know if the director wants.
Councillor Morris, I think Councillor Morris had something. Councillor Morris?
Look, I was just going to commend, probably just second what councillor Kidd had said, that the night was a wonderful combination of our local talent, those that are currently in town and those that have came back for a special event. And it certainly was met with great hype, and people seem to be thrilled with the Roxy and all it has to offer in its new shape and form. And we did get there, and just that last bit to finish off now. And I think it was a tremendous night. It was a very professional show, and here we had it on our front step, which was wonderful to see. And the politicians and guests that were invited that evening spoke tremendously highly of what we had been able to deliver. So it was, yeah, congratulations to all.
Just a second, councillor Edmund, I
remember.
think we answered your question. Did we answer your two questions?
So yes.
Sorry, councillor, right?
It was just the same thing what gentleman just said, that the surplus would be in the general fund pool.
Thank you.
Right, any more discussion? I'd just like to concur, it was a great night and put us on the map with everybody. Everybody talked about it, and what a great start for the year. And thank for all those people involved, right through from the staff, right through to the people who had vision and backed it. All right, so no more discussion. I'll put the motion. All in favour? Aye, those against? I declare it's carried. Next item is moving on to item 8.1.5, minutes of the Roxy Development Committee. There is a recommendation put forward. Do I have a mover, a second for that? Moved by councillor Kidd, second by councillor Morris. Any discussion? Councillor Edmund.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Unless somebody wants to make a speak before I launch into questions. Sorry, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I give the opportunity for other people to speak. I've just got a few questions which I might ask individually. I just want to get an understanding of why the minutes of the Roxy Redevelopment Committee took 4 to 5 months to be presented to council.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there's no good reason for their delay, and we will do our best to make sure that they come through more readily going forward.
Thank you, General Manager. That'll be very much appreciated. If you could just, my second question is, could you just help me identify where the projected 1.18 million deficit is reflected in council budget papers? Is that money going to be borrowed, or is that from the general funds, and how and who will repay for losses made?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll have to go back to the original budget that came to council, and so if I can take that on notice about exactly where it's written in the budget, I'll do that. But just in general terms, the funding, if you look at the income that's going to be funding the deficit. So first of all, I'll just clarify, it's a budgeted deficit of 1.179 million. Included in that is $389,000 of depreciation and $182,000 of interest on loan funding. So that's nearly half of that amount by the time you've added it together. And the interest on the loan funding is literally that, it's the interest on the loan, and there's no loan being taken out for operational purposes. That's the loan for the build of the Roxy. Council put in $4.2 million of the $12 million budget. So it's just around 30%. So the rest of it comes through a mixture of income from box office sales, a bit of rates money and some grants money. So all of those things together represent the income, which is projected for the year to be just shy of $300,000. And when you look at all the expenses of 1.4 million, it leaves a forecast deficit of 1.1 million. And at the moment, looking at the September quarter actuals, the income's been relatively high, proportional to the, you know, we've got over a third of the income in a quarter of the year so far. And of course, once the the sustainable communities money comes in, that'll certainly grow the grant from 80,000 to 600,000. Equally, on the expenditure side, the expenditure has been relatively low, but I do caution everyone to not think that you can just times it by 4 and that's going to be the cost for the year. Everything's about timing. So of course, some things will be increased in certain quarters, but I think councillors can have some reassurance that the budget's tracking well enough.
I've got a few more questions, but I'm happy to share.
All right, I thought, one more question before.
Yeah, no,
When Roxy 2 comes on board, the income will come on board and there'll be a expenditure part, that'll be part of this going forward, I should imagine.
Correct, Mr. Mayor, and I think to some extent, this is, this is a new chapter with new beginnings. I'd say that we're very much at the formative stages of working out all the costings. So I wouldn't call this the most mature budget necessarily, but certainly with the income from Roxy 2, it will increase the amount of money that the Roxy will bring in.
Councillor Kidd.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just as a reference point for Councillor Edwards, and I'm only going off my memory here, but the Roxy was losing where before the rebuild started approximately 650,000 a year. So there's not a great deal of change, and we have a much more function. Even though we're a bit wounded at the moment and limping along without Roxy 2, we're in a relatively good position compared to what we were before.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that's a comment. Councillor,
Two more questions.
No, and go back to Councillor.
Oh, you go first because I've asked so many. Call first.
Appreciate that we've got the budget, and I know it's just a bit of a roughed out version at the moment. I'm just trying to understand when we have shows like that I've just seen advertised recently, like Little Wing Puppets, which was on the 8th of December, Club Origami, those types of shows. Which line item am I looking at? Where is the cost there? Where is that coming from?
So through Mr. Mayor, we've provided councillors with a confidential report with all the individual shows, income and expenditure. So you can see it in there because we're running them as work orders at the moment. So you won't see every show as a line item in here, but you will see it.
I looked in my confidential, maybe I missed that, but now my iPad's gone flat, so I can't reference it. But was it the breakdown of the shows as such?
Yes, every single one.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
And the reason it was in confidential is because it was commercially sensitive.
And I knew that was why, we'd gone in there. But just off the back of that, when we look at, Councillor Edwards, I know you have a few more questions.
Oh, good.
Just the council-sponsored community shows, just for my understanding, is that things like the Leeton Town Band, Spectacular, and things?
Stedford, no, it's not. It's more for events that come along that are co-created with local community.
Yep.
We can come back with a better definition of it all, but it's certainly not those items that we've already made allocated funding for. For example, that Groove Inc. night, where they had all the bands come together and the dancing groups and whatnot, that was considered a community kind of a show to get participation up and audience growth.
That helps in my understanding.
Yes.
That's what I was just trying to work out the difference between the two. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Maiden. I'll come back to Councillor Edwards.
Unless anyone else wants to ask questions first, because I just still share the call. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How much funding has been raised today under the Roxy Redevelopment Committee's commitment? I know there's a defined goal of $300,000. Is that a set target or is that just an aspirational goal?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the Roxy Redevelopment Committee made a commitment to raise that, so it's a hard target, you could say. At this point in time, there's a subcommittee set up to trace that information. They have a project in mind, and I'm not going to say it now because I don't want to jump ahead of the official announcements towards raising those funds. But at in your question, you've also asked, what is the money for? It was to pay for the seats in the dress circle. So the dress circle seats weren't part of the original Roxy project, and council allowed them to be developed on the basis of the Roxy Redevelopment Committee reimbursed council.
Yep, I need to answer the case. I just want to
Okay.
rejig my memory there. Thank you, General Manager. And then my final question is, so what is being done to bring more acts into town, and who is responsible for marketing the venue in that way to bring those acts into town?
Through Mr. Mayor, we have a Roxy Theatre manager and a team which includes a front of house manager that would also work with bringing acts into town. And at the moment, we have someone doing contract work from a marketing point of view. The marketing is not so much focused on bringing new acts into town. It's more focused on getting the people to attend the acts that are being brought in. But certainly at this point in time, between the Roxy manager and the front of house coordinator, they're the key focus people. From time to time, we have individuals in the community that will contact council staff with ideas. We have agencies from all over the show that touch base. The Roxy's, the fact that it's back up and open and ready for more business is starting to see great attraction in the number of people contacting us. Our big problem is not to have so many shows that we can't cope. So it's kind of finding that balance and the rhythm, and this is where the Roxy Advisory Committee comes in, because they're able to give a sense of what the community needs and wants as well.
And so one more question that I didn't send prior to this. The Roxy Advisory Committee, that comes out of the Roxy Redevelopment Committee once the redevelopment's completed. Am I correct in understanding that? Or is
the Roxy Redevelopment Committee, after tonight's later decision, will end and the RAC will take over. And the Roxy Redevelopment Committee was only about the build.
Yep.
The RAC is about the build and the ongoing operations.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Yep.
read that too. Thank you.
Councillor Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I just wanted to probably commend looking at the draft Roxy program for the next 12 months on page 118. We've got a vast program there, and it is a huge array of acts and entertainment that we haven't probably ever experienced in our Roxy before. And as councillors, it's also part of our duty, I feel, to support it and promote it within our community. Because the range of activities is astronomical. I noticed in one of the reports, we've had an outcry for movies to come back to the theatre, and there has been a few, and there's certainly some more starting on Boxing Day. But they haven't been greatly supported to date. So now our Roxy is open, it's really up to our community to get behind now, and the proof's in the pudding. Support those movies and other shows that have come to town.
I agree. We've come a very long way from 10 years ago. It was sitting there, the pigeons and so forth. I mean, it's a great lot of work we've done here. Was there a question from you?
Just a statement. I've been involved in a lot of this. It's a really exhausting schedule that we've been putting up. Volunteers have been working very hard and significant hours and work, as well as the staff. And I'd, like Councillor Morris said, I'd encourage everyone in the community to get behind the Roxy. You'll get the theatre you deserve, and if you patronise it, you'll get a really good one, because it's got the bones of a great institution. And I would suggest to everyone, and those that are watching on camera as well, get in, have a look at the website and see what's coming up. And some shows I've been to, you're sort of a bit and ah about, but you go and they are just absolutely fantastic. There are so many lovely surprises there. So please have a look at our website and please patronise your Roxy Theatre. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Kidd. Well, we had a move and a seconder and we had some discussions and questions. Are we ready to put the motion? The motions? All in favour? Aye. Those against? I declare it as carried. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 8.1.6 in regard to council policy review, December 2025, page 120 of the agenda. Is the recommendation there? Do I have a move and a second for that one?
Well, I-
Oh, the two policies, yes, Mr. Mayor.
Morris and councillor Kidd. Councillor Morris first, this mover. The second was councillor Kidd. Any discussion? Put the motion. Those in favour, say aye. Those against, I declare it as carried. Right, moving on to corporate matters. In regard to investment report, which is on page 142. We do have a recommendation in front of us to the mover and the seconder. Moved by councillor Kidd, second by councillor Morris. Good. Any discussion? These are investment reports for November 2025. Any questions?
No,
Right.
the numbers are good, Mr. Mayor.
The motion then? Favour? I declare it as carried. Operation matters now. This is the endorsement of the public exhibition on the draft urban tree marshing plan. We had the speaker earlier on tonight, councillor Mason, councillor Nardi. We had those discussions. We have a recommendation in front of us for someone to move. Move a seconder, moved by councillor Kidd, second by councillor Wright. Thank you. Any discussion? Sure.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to say through you that kind of investment, it's very hard to quantify the benefits, but how many journeys 10 years from now of people walking through their town, shade, and it really does impact on human health and the livability of the town. And when you look at how pervasive it literally every street, every corner of the town that it'll affect, it's just so important. And I'm really happy that we do have a plan where we're treating trees like the assets that they are. They have a starting point, they have a lifespan, and we need to treat it just as seriously as we would roads or street furniture and other amenities.
Correct.
Good work to the staff.
Councillor Kidd, yeah.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just a couple of quick things with regard to that. I echo completely everything councillor Wright has said. And there's a couple little benefits here. Shaded roads don't wear out as quick. There are maintenance benefits council in the long term, even though it's hard to quantify at this stage. Another interesting one is that properties that are along on streets which have avenues of trees are on average valued about 10% higher than similar properties on similar streets without trees. So there's a bit of an incentive in there for ratepayers to get out, put a bucket of water on their street tree every week when it's young and look after them, because it will pay back to the ratepayer themselves in the long run as well.
Good, councillor Kidd. Any more discussion? Councillor Nardi.
Mayor, reading this master plan, I'm in agreement that it is very important to have something moving forward. And I specifically really enjoyed the article about with Oak Street, with the plan moving forward there. I think that was a great diagram. I think it's quite interesting. I think it's a very important thing. We do have a lot of wide streets in our community, and place being one of them. And I know that we do have a lot of about people speeding down those streets, even though we do have a police station in Oak Street. And I think that not only will it be profitable for, safekeeping of the roads, like Councillor Kidd suggested, I'm sort of more concerned about slowing down traffic here as well, creating more shade and parking. Pedestrian islands would be great for crossing over to the churches, and I think the document is fantastic. I'd also like to make note of, I'd love to see some really good feedback from what the businesses down, say, Kurrajong Avenue would think of some of these as a survey moving forward. But overall, I enjoyed the master plan quite well. I think they've done a great job.
Yeah, I have to concur with that. It was a fantastic draft urban tree. I'm really looking forward to some submissions. Councillor Roy, did you have your hand up?
I was just going to ask a question. Probably it's going out as a draft master plan. Just our communications, are we targeting specific groups in our town or community groups that may be of interest? Is that part of
I'll refer to the literature.
just so they've got an awareness to for some valuable input?
Yes.
Through Mr. Mayor, we were just seeing this as holistic engagement with the whole community, Whitton, Yanco, Murray, everywhere. So when you say community groups,
That isn't just probably an awareness that it may be done through our communications office, and we awareness in our community too.
and we do have a database of how many people, or can you just remind me what's in our community database that we send direct mailing to?
The electronic one,
The electronic one,
by
2,500 residents.
Oh, and that may be,
And-
a good
Yeah.
section of people that you've made them aware, and it's up to them to come forward.
Councillor Roy, I must agree with you.
Thank you.
We try so hard to get information out there and people say, I never saw it. So please, if you're listening, please come and have a look at it, and we need your input. I think all the councillors here are quite excited about the draft, so we need you as the community because it's your trees, it's your roads. Any more discussion before? All right, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Aye. Those against? I declare it carried. We're going to move on to participation of small market power purchases, item 8.3.2. We'll make comment, but it's not right. There is a recommendation put forward by the staff. Do I have a move and a second for that? Moved by the Kidd, second by councillor. I'll second it. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, just on past performance, I thoroughly recommend proceeding down this track. It's great financial benefits for council and ratepayers in the past, and more of the same would, and perhaps even more, would be most welcome. Most welcome.
Thank you very much. Any more discussion? If not, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Those against? Declare it carried. Move on to question around notice. The recommendation that council notes the information only for the question which was noted from councillor Boston Edwards. I have a move in a second. We note those. Moved by councillor Edwards, second by councillor Maitland. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to the confidential matters.
Sorry, a point of order, Mr. Mayor. You have to vote. Or was that just?
I did ask, I think it's legal advice today.
So you have to vote.
Excuse me, yes, you do have to vote, so it's
Oh, sorry,
for noting, it's moved, seconded and then carried.
sorry, I didn't.
Sorry, thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
Any
Yeah.
discussion and all in favour? Those against? Declared carried. Apologies, councillor Edwards. Oh, cheat sheet wasn't. Well, all right, we're going to move on to next item. Thank you, council. It's now recommended that council move into the closed council to consider business item 10.1, council committee member expressions of interest application. In accordance with the section 10A 2A of the Local Government Act 1993, as the report contained matters of information related to personal matters concerning particular individuals other than councillors. And that the report relevant to the subject business be withheld from access to the media and the public as required by section 11.2 of the Local Government Act. Can I call for a move and a seconder, please? Moved by councillor Morris, seconded by councillor Mayton. I put the motion. All in favour? Aye. I declare it carried. I close council